Hi, I'm Emma of Phoenix Rises Yoga. Welcome to this yin yoga sequence designed to help relieve upper back pain or tension. So if you are someone like me who has fairly rounded shoulders, can feel very uncomfortable in your upper back, then these are the poses that I use that I find most effective in relieving my back tension. So I hope they will serve you too. For this practice, you will need a couple of yoga blocks, or if you're very tight, perhaps beginning with a rolled up blanket. So once you've got your props together, I will see you on the mat. Okay, so we're going to begin this practice in what's called heart bend. This is an upper back bend. So using your blocks, this top block is used for your head. This is the one that creates the back bend. So choose a setting that's appropriate for you, and this is the time, if you know that you're very tight, you would swap out the block and use a rolled up blanket. We place either prop in the same position. So choose the setting that works best for you. When I first began this practice, in fact, I would just use the rolled up blanket, then I moved up to the lowest setting. Now I'd say generally I'm up to the medium setting. We'll see how I get on today. And you want to place this, your sort of mid upper back. So where you would have a bra strap, if you don't wear a bra, then just imagining where that would be. And I like to kind of back my way onto it. And lower down and hope that there's a block ready to meet me. Oh yeah, there it is. Okay, so that feels pretty good for me. This can take a little bit of experimentation. You don't want to be in any pain here. And then straightening your legs. Where's my phone? There we go. Set the timer. So as I say, when I first started this was super tight for me. And in fact, I would get kind of a pulsing, weird sort of spasming thing going on. So if you're experiencing that, then make your way onto less height. You want to be able to rest here. Options with your arms, resting your arms out by your sides. Or perhaps taking your arms up overhead. And then settling down into this shape. For sure, I think in my body this is one of my tightest areas. I keep catching glimpses of myself and my posture and a reflection, and I'm kind of horrified when I'm not paying attention. I'm really slouchy, and I'm kind of worried now about developing a hump. So I've taken to practicing this pose once a day, maybe even twice a day. Trying to mobilize my upper spine and find ease here. Making sure you can breathe fully and comfortably. Relax your head. There's no need to lift your chin up towards the ceiling. Perhaps, like me, you can really feel this from the inside out. I can feel this gentle pulsing across the front of my ribs. And depending on where you have your arms, you may be getting a nice stretch across the front of your shoulders. If you notice that you're getting pins and needles or perhaps numbness in your hands or your fingers, then gently let your arms come in closer towards your body. As we have been here for some time, perhaps you're noticing that actually your initial sensation is beginning to settle, and you may be invited to go a little deeper. That isn't happening for me, so I can't demonstrate that. But options may be adjusting the block that's at your head, maybe taking it down to a lower setting, or even removing it completely. Or perhaps adjusting your arm placement. The key word there really was being invited. Often ego can bulldoze its way through, may have an idea that deeper is better. I just remind you that deeper is not better. The tissues we are stimulating here don't respond well to intensity. They like moderation, and they like time. So trust that by holding this pose for the time that we do, that you're getting the benefits that you're seeking. To come out of this pose very slowly, bring your arms back down or in, wherever they were. Rebend your knees. Now, if you're anything like me, the idea of sitting bolt upright is an absolute nonsense. So you may like to join me in rolling to one side. This is when I feel like I'm made out of something very rigid. I feel like I've aged 100 years. Ooh. There we go. Once you're out safely, don't worry, that feeling will go. So come to rest on your back. And let that settle in what we call the rebound. Just noticing the effects of that pose. Okay, so we're going to continue opening through the front line of the body, this time working into a lower back pose. Pose for the lower back. I don't know. Words. Okay, so reaching for your block again. Now I've got pretty chunky big boys, so which I love, by the way. They're so stable. I'm still going to go on the lowest setting, and I would recommend, if you've got blocks that maybe don't feel so stable, have it on its lowest setting and then maybe put a pillow on top or build up if you're looking for more height rather than upending it. It can be pretty wobbly, and I really want you to be safe here, especially because we're holding these poses for a long time. You don't want to have any fast or jerky movements. Because these are so big, I'm finding this an effective setting just having it on its base anyway. So come down and bend your knees and then lift your hips up, and you're going to place your block underneath your pelvis, at the back of your pelvis. So not at your lower back, and I know I'm wearing a big jumper, but if you can see, my hand moves freely underneath my lower back. So once you've got it in position, Then start to extend one leg and then the other. Remember, the exploration of your yin practice, there are no set rules. So some of you will feel great having your feet together, and some of you will want to take your legs wider apart. And again, we're going to stay here for 5 minutes. So settle down. You'll know you've got your block in the right place when you can't feel it. There's no jagging, it's not pressing into you uncomfortably. One of the benefits of this pose, and often we can speak to this aspect alone, is the opening at the front of your hips as well. So there's a really nice front body opener here. And just as we did in heart bed, you can have your arms by your sides, or you may like to take your arms up overhead. Noticing what there is to notice here. Perhaps if you're new to yin, you're finding the fact that we're holding these poses for time a challenge. Or perhaps if you're working with particular tensions in your body, that's what you're most aware of. There is so much to notice. This opportunity to slow down and to linger in our poses, I believe to be so valuable. We can become intimately familiar with ourselves. We're working deeply here. So as you rest and settle, perhaps you're becoming more aware of the layers that are here. There's the initial response or reaction. And then perhaps you notice more. Do you feel this in any one particular area? Or does sensation move? Is your attention pulled to different places? Is this felt superficially? Meaning, can you feel this at the sort of outer layer of your body? Perhaps you're very aware of the sensation at the front of your hips. Or is it deeper than that? Perhaps with your mind's eye you travel in to the landscape of your pelvis. Notice if you're holding any tension. I just realized I was kind of lifting my chin up to the ceiling. It's taken me this long, for a good few minutes into this pose, to notice. So check in with your own body. And release anything that isn't needed here. To come out again, we'll move slowly. If your arms were overhead, then bring them down. Rebend your knees one at a time. And to lift up, I recommend squeezing your butt cheeks just to give yourself a little bit of support. And then lift up just enough to remove your block. And then lower down, and once again rest here and feel the effects of that pose. Perhaps you can feel a heat or a pulsing. A vibration. Okay, so moving into our final pose now, which is a spinal twist. Twisted roots we're coming into. So staying on your back, bend your knees and cross your right leg over your left leg. If it's in your legs, if it's in your anatomy, you may like to tuck your foot behind your left calf or ankle. And then from here, we're just letting the knees fall to the left. Notice if you're very tight, you may end up sort of being pulled all the way over to lie on your left side. This isn't what we're looking for. We're looking for the rotation at your spine. So if that's happening for you, then reach for your block or your cushions and rest your knees on that support so that you can roll your rib cage round and your right shoulder can rest on the floor. If you maybe are the other way and you're very twisty and you don't feel this as a twist, then you can place your hips up on your block, and that height just gives you further to go. I don't have that, so I'm quickly going to exit that. Sorry for my floorboards. Okay, there we go. Oof, nice. So, the target area is the spine, and as I said, the rotation of the spine. We're really stimulating all of the joints of the spinal column. However, there's a lot happening in a twist, and you may be more conscious of any one or all of these elements. So you may feel your waist here, the muscles of your waist being stretched, perhaps your hips, or perhaps across your chest. If you like the sensation in your chest and you're looking for more with your arms out at shoulder height, you can bend your elbows, letting your hands point up in the direction of your head. I would just say, make sure that your hands are resting on the floor. If they're not, that may be a sign that you're going too far too soon. You could rest them on cushions, or perhaps let it go and just let your arms be straight. Check in with how you would like to rest your head. For years and years and years, I mean really literally over a decade, I didn't know that I was allowed to move my head. I thought it had to be that we turned away from the direction of our knees. It's only once I did my yin training that I realized that we're allowed to explore. This is, oh my gosh, I think maybe the greatest gift to my yoga practice is the permission to explore. So I really encourage you to explore too. Actually, I don't find it great to look away from my knees. Very often I keep my gaze neutral, just looking up towards the ceiling. If I am wanting to go into my neck, then I find turning to look in the same direction as my knees more effective. What works for me won't work for you. So explore. You may find that what works one day doesn't feel so good the next day. And this is a lovely thing as well. We get to start afresh every time. And once you've made your choice, rest. The best way you can help yourself is to do nothing. And trust in the time. Trust in the moderate nature of your pose. And trust in the stillness. What a welcome relief. At the end of your next exhalation, gently unwind, come onto your back. Oof. Sorry. I don't know. I guess I just have to deal with the fact I have creaky floorboards. Okay, coming to the other side. So I like to shift my hips over slightly to the other side just to give myself some space. And the left leg will cross this time. Again, you can explore how twisted your roots are. And then let your knees come over now to the right. And I often find that having been in the twist on one side, it takes me a little bit of time to come into the other side. There we go. Of course, using props as you need to. And then, settle now. How do you want your gaze to be? See, there I go, saying that I don't like looking away from my knees, but actually right now, today in this twist on this, what day is it? Wednesday afternoon. This feels pretty perfect. It's just so nice to get to meet yourself over and over again. And then rest. Again, let go of any residual tension that you don't need. Are you gripping in your legs, in your jaw? Can you breathe fully and easily here? If you're finding holding for this amount of time a challenge, and often I would say that since we're working with moderation, it isn't so much the physical body that provides the challenge, it's actually our mind. Looking for distraction, looking to move on to the next thing. If that's your experience right now, dive into yourself. And by that I mean explore sensations that are here. Wherever you feel this most, maybe pause, rest your awareness there, notice. This may look boring. This may seem boring. But I truly believe that this is fascinating. This is an opportunity to dive deeply into your internal world. And what do you find? The end of your next exhalation, gently make your way out. And pause as that twist settles in your body. And then take this information, so not just your physical body, but also bearing in mind the emotional quality that's here for you, to choose your relaxation shape. So it may be what's called pentacle in the yin yoga practice, letting your arms go wide, your legs go wide and take up space. Perhaps, though, having spent time opening with the front of the body, which can be challenging on an emotional level. There's a reason sometimes that we curl in, we protect our heart, we protect ourselves. So if you've experienced this as an emotional practice, then please support yourself. You may like to roll into a little ball and rest on your side. Very often I close my yin practice in a little ball on my side. Tuck yourself in, curl up, cover up with a blanket, have a pillow for your head, whatever you need to be comfortable and supported. And pausing to notice, and this may be for the last time today, to notice how you feel. Nothing is insignificant. Nothing is silly or too small. Hold yourself in your awareness. And then allow yourself to drift away. Full permission now to daydream or to dream. Nothing more to do but rest. Gently now start to come back. Come back into your body, back into your room. You like to stretch and yawn. Rather than leaping up, getting on, see if you can slow down just for a moment more. In yin, we roll on to our left side. So pause for a moment here. And then push yourself up to a comfortable seat. Oh, I really enjoyed that. I needed that. Thank you for joining me. Together we will close our practice. If you would like to join me, either by bringing your palms together, thumbs resting at your sternum. My preference often is just to rest my hands on my heart center. And if this is too much, making the gesture with your hands, rest them in your lap. If you can, bring your mind's eye to your heart center. There she is. And please join me in bowing your head to your heart in a gesture of gratitude, recognizing and acknowledging all that you have and all that you are. Thank you again for sharing your practice with me.